All right, perfect. All right, I think we'll get started here. So I'll first start out with introducing myself. My name is Kevin Tackey. I serve as the chair of the Board of Trustees for the Oskaloosa Municipal Water Department. And I'll give you a little background as to why we are here. Our general manager, Chad Kuhn, who's actually graced us tonight, Chad, has taken a position at Waterloo running their water department. So he informed us of this a few months ago, and so we started the process of finding a replacement for him. Through that process, one of the ideas proposed was to hold a community forum. That's what we're doing here tonight, to engage the community, or have the opportunity for the community to meet the candidates that we plan to interview for the general manager position of the water department. And this was brought on because of a system used for the police chief that was hired here in years past for the city of Oskaloosa. And it's since this position is a bit community engaging, I think it's applicable to have the community have the opportunity to come and meet the candidates. So what we're going to do here tonight is have the candidates give a little bit of a talk, a little introduction about themselves, and then you'll have the opportunity to meet them even more intimately at the back. They'll sit at the back tables back there. You have the opportunity to ask them some questions. So another person I want to introduce is Katie McCracken. She works for Burns and Repke. That's the firm that we hired to help us in this search. So she will take it from here and introduce the candidates and then let them speak on their own behalf. So, here's Katie.
Thanks, Kevin. Hello, welcome again to the candidate forum tonight. Again, my name is Katie McCracken with Burns and Repke. So like Kevin just mentioned, you're going to be hearing from each candidate, interviewing for the general manager position. So each come up, tell a little bit about themselves, and then again they'll go back there and you can ask a few more questions as well. Just wanted to give you a brief rundown here too. I know you mentioned we mentioned when you walked in the door that there are some comment cards that you can fill out. Feel free to fill those out, drop them in the basket before you walk out. And then, so we'll be hearing from two candidates tonight. There is one candidate that we're going to be having, and you'll notice on that comment card, Kelly Hefner. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, he is not able to be here tonight for the candidate forum, unfortunately. But I can give you a little bit information about him, and then you can go from there. But Kelly, he is from Harrisburg, Illinois. I won't be able to give you too much, unfortunately, since he's not here tonight. But recently, he's been the superintendent of public works for the city of Harrisburg, Illinois. But for now, we'll move along to our first candidate. We'll go first with Matt Van Wyk. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Hi everybody, I am Matt Van Wyk. I have been with the Oskaloosa Water Department for a little over 5 years now. I started on the distribution crew. I have worked the joint locate position that was created when the wastewater operations was taken over by Water Department, and most recently I've been collections supervisor. I've done that for the last 2 years. I'm married, have 4 kids between us. Ranging from 4 years old to 19. So very active in sports and stuff. So being closer to here with the Lacey Complex would be very, very nice. So.
Should have been closer.
I just set the bar a little bit.
My Public Works Director for the city of Tama. If I didn't have enough going on my every other Monday, I'm also elected as the mayor of Toledo, where I actually live. So I have like 5 Mondays that are open out of the entire year. So it's always a challenge, but I love it. It's fun to try to get to those 2 communities together and their border is separated by like a line in the tile. That's about the extent of it, but there's a lot of community pride in both communities that want to stay separate, but those are changing. So I'm divorced, I have 2 kids. I've been in government. This is my 14th, 15th year. This is actually my anniversary date being in Tama. So I've been there now for a full 8 years, and tomorrow starts number 9. So being Public Works, I have the street experience, the water experience, and the sewer. I have a grade 4 wastewater, a grade 3 water. I'd probably try higher, but I don't have that kind of a plan to try. So, but other than that, glad to be here. Glad to be a candidate that was selected by the board to participate in this. Matt has been fantastic going through the both water and wastewater plants today. He was out at the main break today. Sure, whoever you're going to end up with is going to be fantastic for the community. So can't wait to meet you, and I don't know if we just go back to the back and sit at the tables and go from there. But it'd be great to meet all of you.
All right, thanks, John and Matt. All right, well, I know that was brief, but I think we'll take some time now to go back to the 2 tables. If you want to go back and ask some questions, we'll do our little meet and greet here. And again, please place your comment cards in the back. Feel free to ask any questions to any of us if you have questions as well. But thank you again for coming. And again, my name is Katie with Burns and Repke. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
So you're here and you're getting to be an opportunity to interview for a position that you're familiar with. So can you give us a little bit about yourself and maybe some of your work experience?
A little bit about myself. I've been in government, like I said, for 14, 15 years. I've been in 3 different communities for that. I've been city administrator. I've also, right now I'm the public works director, so I'm involved in water and wastewater, but I'm also in charge of our streets, so plowing snow and making sure the water plant's running correctly and looking at capital projects for that. The same with sewer, working with the DNR and making sure that we're doing what they're wanting, but also even going above and beyond that a little bit to make sure that what we do is good for the environment as well. So,
And you have an interesting job of you're the next door neighbor's mayor, is that correct?
I am the mayor of Toledo. It's a great community, great staff. That's kind of you always want to look and expand, and really I'm looking at this job as bigger town, more challenges, and so that's really what I'm looking for. The one thing, if I were able to get it to obtain this position, is leaving the people behind, because they're great people. I love working with them, so it's tough.
That's always the harder part.
Yep.
So you're wanting to expand your position. I mean, you're looking to grow yourself professionally.
Correct.
And so that's really why you're ultimately looking for this position.
I mean, Tama's about 2,500. Toledo's a little less than that, but I'm not really involved with it, but I know exactly what goes on with their process. With Oskaloosa being much bigger than that, and even combined, that leads me to the opportunity of a bigger community, the challenges that go along with that. And it's operated by an independent board. That's a different system as well, along with wastewater, water and wastewater being a 28B, so you have the city government involved. So I think that's where I can really shine and bring things through and be that much more of a benefit. Otherwise, this is the guy. So.
Okay, well, and did you just come to Oskaloosa for the first time today, then?
I grew up in Newton, so I'm kind of familiar with the area, Pella, Oskaloosa, Tumwa. I drive through Oskaloosa. I have family just across the border in Missouri, down by Cantrell. So I'm coming down through here about every month, and usually this is kind of a nice midway stop, get something to drink or have dinner if it's late, or so. know Oskaloosa, pretty familiar with it. So,
What impresses you about Oskaloosa in general?
what impresses me about Oskaloosa is the benefactors to the community. There's a lot of good businesses here, and those business people want to stay here in the community and give back to the community, and it's fantastic. A lot of communities don't have that, and that's one thing that really seems to shine through with Oskaloosa are the benefactors, the business owners, and always giving back to the community. So.
You had an opportunity to tour the facilities, I think,
sir.
today.
Yep.
And so, first of all, what impressed you? What was like, hey, this is a good thing, and what caused you some pause, maybe?
The easiest thing is the water plant. It's a lime softening system. Lime softening is a great, a lime softened water is a great product. Period. Mm-hmm. The thing that's that I can see would be frustrating with it is there's no room for, you really can't expand that area because it's a National Historic Register facility. So it's kind of maxed out to a certain degree. As far as the treatment building, you need to swing some things a little differently to, I don't want to say make improvements to it, but to enlarge it to bring more in. Mm-hmm. But there's capacity, so it's going to be a while before that happens. But,
Okay.
It's interesting with the wastewater because the north side is basically going to be turned into a giant lift station, and everything taken down to the south side and treated there. Mm-hmm. It's a great way of doing it because then you're only operating one facility rather than two and having those capital costs. But it's going to be expensive.
Yeah. That's for sure. That's one of those talks. And speaking of that those costs have the community's attention on this position. Do you feel as though you're prepared for that kind of spotlight? The general public demands answers, particularly when their dollars are being spent. So are you prepared for that sort of?
Yeah. I mean, you have to if you're going to be in this kind of field. And even if you run for a board, and I think that's why some people just don't want to be on councils or be on boards. They may not want that spotlight. They may not want to have to answer those questions when they go into Hy-Vee or Fairway, and somebody says, "Hey, you're on the board, aren't you? Why are you raising my rates?" Everybody understands it, but people really don't realize a 2% increase. But if you let those go over a number of years, it's not just the cost of doing the business, but it's also the cost of the other utilities that you use, like electric. Those things can go up, and you have costs that you don't foresee. Water main breaks are a big one. They cost quite a bit when one happens, but you try to be progressive with it. And if you're going to be progressive with it, then you got to do the planning and setting aside money and making sure the funds are there, rather than bonding for it later and doing the project, and then you here's your 20% increase. Things wear out. That's really what happens. I was even asked that question today, and why do those things cost? Well, it's like a street. They wear out. You wouldn't think that it does, but how do you make potholes?
Right.
They wear out. So it's weather related for the streets. Water's corrosive. Water's not really the easiest thing to. And I guess it's not the easiest thing to operate. It's just corrosive. It's the nature of what it is. So.
Okay. Have I missed anything that you'd like to share?
No, I think Oskaloosa is a wonderful community. I hope I have the opportunity to come here. The staff is fantastic. There's a great staff, a really good office manager. Ann Smith down at the Economic Development Chamber, she was great. I mean, talk about a champion for the community. She is fantastic. I've not met anybody that seems mediocre. They enjoy the community. They enjoy doing what they do. So it will make it easy for whoever comes in to do this, to do it.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your family and your time in Oskaloosa, or what drew you to Oskaloosa, or were you here for?
Actually, I live in Indianola.
Oh, you live in Indianola?
Yes, I drive every day.
Okay, so let's start off with your family.
Been married to my wife for almost 5 years now. We have 4 kids between the two of us, 4, 10, 13, and 19. They're all very active in sports, keep us busy.
So you've been a part of Oskaloosa Water, and do you also take part of the wastewater operations?
Actually, I'm wastewater collection supervisor.
Okay.
So I started out on the water side, and then when the merger happened with day-to-day operations, there was a position created for joint utility locate position, and I took that, and then from there I was able to start getting my certifications on wastewater, and then I worked up to the supervisor position over there. So I've been doing that for 2 years now.
Okay. And something I didn't know is that you're an Indianola resident. So if you were to get this position, are you going to make Oskaloosa your home then?
Yes.
So what parts of Oskaloosa impress you then the most?
Well, first off, I grew up in this area. So I lived in New Sharon for 8 years prior to moving up there. But as far as Oskaloosa itself, the recreation, the family atmosphere with the activities on the square, Lacey Complex, I mean, with kids in sports, that's kind of a given. The square, I mean, the historicness of it. I mean, it just seems like a very nice community and a very safe community for raising a family.
Well, and you were very familiar with Chad. You worked, lockstep with him for at least, a year or two?
Yeah.
You understand that the citizens of Oskaloosa are very conscious now of the cost of water, wastewater, and they're very vocal about it. Are you prepared to be able to answer to the people of Oskaloosa why their water bill may go up or their sewer rates may go up?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately with the type of field we're in, it's not something you see like a brand new road. It's underground infrastructure. It's difficult to see. I think at times it's out of sight, out of mind. And you don't think about it until like such as the rain we've had lately, your sewer backs up. You don't realize there's issues with it until you don't have it. Same with like a water main break. We have old mains. We've had 2 breaks just this week. Those are the areas we're trying to identify where we have a lot of maintenance that has to be done on it to replace. With the water department, we try not to pull any loans for our work that needs to be done. We try to fund it all up front. That is why we have the rates, but with the loan processes, by the time you pay them off, you're looking at what do you have left after 20 years. So that, I would like to think that if a resident was to come to me, I'd be able to explain to them, and we may not agree, but at least we can come to an understanding.
Okay. And I'm sure with your experience of these years, you've seen some things that are good as far as water, wastewater in Oskaloosa.
Yep.
And there's some challenges. They need to remain ahead yet.
Yep, agreed.
Tell me some of those good things that you see that have been accomplished and that we're doing good with.
What I've seen that's good is the last 2 phases of wastewater work. We're getting ready to start phase 3, beginning of next week, I think, is when the project is supposed to start. We've made a lot of improvements. We've made a lot of headway. There's still a long ways to go. But those improvements. And on the water side, same thing. I mean, when Chad was here, there was a lot of new PVC water main that went to the ground, replacing old ductile or cast iron that we were having issues with. So I think that is a very good thing to have happen in a community like this. It's preventative maintenance, in my opinion.
Okay. And then what sorts of other challenges are you seeing that's going to be, Oskaloosa is going to be facing?
To keep up with it. I mean, we've got to have the funding to keep up, but we've also got to find a line where we're good stewards of the ratepayers' money. I mean, we've got to, I feel, watch our spending and make sure that we're getting the most bang for the buck. And I kind of usually ask everybody if there's something I should have spoken about or there was something that you'd like to touch on that maybe in our conversation you're like, hey, I'd like to really talk about this. So is there anything along those lines that you'd like to talk about? Not that I can think of right offhand.
Okay, well, that's all right.
So it's kind of overwhelming, but...
So yeah, this is a whole big experience for you. So you kind of came out of Chad's shadow.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden here you are, and
Chad's been a mentor to me, and he's been very helpful throughout this whole process. So I feel that in the month that he's been gone, that operations have maintained and everything's been handled well. I know there's going to be challenges. I feel that those challenges you just take head on and do the best you can with. If things don't go quite as planned, you take it as a learning experience and you know for next time.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.